Morning guys, how are we all doing today? A little bit of heat here. And that'll do this. So, we got the Saturday morning stretch session. We're about to kick off. No real plan for this today. It's more of a flow. A little bit stiff. I'm back doing some of my weight training again. So, been about 2 weeks now, and there's just a little bit of stiffness kicking in, sort of lower back, rear shoulders, things like that. So we're just going to work through and get ourselves a nice stretch as we're doing it. So again, we're going to start off just long arm circles, nice and long, not swinging really, more reaching and rotating. Back away with the arms, same thing on the other side. Relax that. From there, just nice rotation from the waist. Just loosening up. One more. We're going to add the pec stretch now, so we'll open up. Close back to the chest, other side. And again, we're still rotating through that waist in order to get this. One more. And we'll take that and moving down onto the hips, just hands in the hips, and then circles. Long circles, we're going to push out the back, push out the side with the hip, again, trying to get through that stretch. And other way, same thing. Like that. Knees or feet together. Slight bend knee, hands top of the thighs, semicircles, keeping the heels down. So that push the knee forward, rotate, push the knee forward, rotate. So feet are planted on the floor. So 6 one direction. And then other way. Again, my knees are pushing forward past my toes, but my heels are staying planted to get in through that Achilles tendon as well as in through that knee. One more. And we'll bring that back up then on the point of the toe, circles. So again, the idea is just to get movement through the joints before we start getting into the stretches. Other side. So again, toes planted and you're doing circles with the heels. Relax. Point the toe. Let's go. Other way. Relax that. Just palms together, turn it down, 45-degree angle, open it up, close it in. So with here, stretching through. And then we'll change to another way, go. Back to center, all up, one down. Just so we're not just forcing back, we're reaching up as well and reaching down. Other way. Relax that. Just onto the shoulders, shoulder rolls back. Again, these are simple wee things you can do. You can do some of these seated. If you're at a desk all day and the upper back starts getting tired from leaning over a computer, 6 forward. The upper body ones are very simply done. It's just to get movement through the body again because you're sitting. One more, relax that. Neck, just semicircles round. Semicircles round. Down and round. Down and round. Back. center. Head down, just turn. Center, turn. Center, back to center. Each time, stop, and then move through. So you're getting a stretch down through here. Again, these and the neck for people again that sit over a computer all day. Stiff enough for people, so you're just trying to get movement through the body again. And then one more. And back out. That's good. So we're going to go into that tuck and roll. So it's chin tuck. Reason for the chin tuck is we don't want a stiff leg. We don't want you to be coming down and just leaning from the back. We want you to tuck, collapse through this, collapse through, roll down, point of the head going down. And even in this bottom position now, for myself, I can feel that pulling from my back into the outside of the glute, right into that hamstring. We'll bring that back up, roll up through the spine, through the spine, through the spine. Head being the last to come up. Breathe in. Chin tuck, breathe out, collapse through. Breathe. Bring it up, through the spine, through the spine, through the spine, through the spine. Head being the last. Breathe in. Chin tuck, breathe. Back up, again through every vertebrae of that spine, working your way up through, head being the last to come up. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, chin tuck, collapse through. It's number 4. We're going to do one more. Again, head being the last to come up, work your way up through that spine. Last one, breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, chin tuck, collapse. Work your way back up through. This time we're going to walk it down into an all fours position. Breathe out. Walk it down and then walk that right out into that all fours position. So knees underneath, stacked underneath the hip, hands are stacked underneath the shoulders. We're going to a cat cow from this. So or cat camel, depends on who is telling you what you're doing. But basically we're pushing up through angry cat or camel and then down in. So we're pushing the belly button into the floor, we're pushing our hands into the floor, we're arching our head up, we're pushing our butt up to the ceiling. Breathe in, bring it back to neutral, breathe out, other way. Just going to adjust my hand position. Breathe in, back to neutral, breathe out, other way. And just got a pop there. One in the lower back where it was stiff. Breathe in, back to center, breathe out, up and through. Breathe in, back to center, breathe out. Breathe in, back to center, breathe out, up through. Back to center, breathe in. And bring that around. So we're going to take that, keep the position, and just squaring off so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to put the knuckles to the forehead, we're going to rotate the waist down, and then we're going to aim the waist up to the ceiling. The reason I'm putting the knuckle to the forehead is that at times when people put the hand like this, or fingers to the temple, they start flapping the arm like this. And they feel as if they're getting into the stretch, but the waist isn't working, the waist isn't moving into that rotation, they're flapping their arm. So fist is solid, you don't move the arm, and then I twist my shoulder down through, and then I twist my shoulder back up. Twist my shoulder down through, twist my shoulder back up. And let's get through that lower back thoracic spine. You can do the hand behind the head also with this. Get a bit more upper back, but I prefer fist to the temple. Change hands. Feel that sit. Fist to the temple, twist through. So my chest is rotating through. Chest to the opposite wall. Breathe out. Breathe in, prepare. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. 2 more. right up. Last one, right up. Fingers back down and from that. We're just widening the feet a bit. We're going to walk the hands forward, and then we're going to sit back into that stretch. Jam the heels of the hand into the floor, so when you sit back, it's pulling the arms out of the sockets. That's going to get you a nice stretch through the upper back, into your lats, and it's going to pull back and down through. Come up out of that very slightly. Left hand outside of your mat, right hand on top of it. Lock that position in tight and then sit back, and it's going to give you a big stretch into your right lat. Breathe in, breathe out. Hold this stretch for 5 breath cycles. So breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And every time you're trying to relax and pull back further, don't fight the stretch. Breathe in, so use the breath to relax yourself. Breathe out. Last one in. Last one out. Change hands, back to center, reset. Right hand to the outside, left hand over the top. Lock it in. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out. Sit into that stretch, sit back. And then deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. And don't worry if you're not feeling the stretch. Breathe out. Some people don't. And then some people will be not as stiff in other places as others. Some people might find the hips, they're feeling it all in the hips. Breathe out. 2 to go. Others might find the upper back, neck from working over the computer. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Back to center. Relax up out of that. Just walk that in. Hands underneath shoulders, chest up, roll the shoulders back, sink into the hips. So we're pushing the pelvis into the floor at the same time I'm pushing up to the ceiling to stretch through my abdominals down into my hip flexors. And my neck is neutral. I'm not looking up, neck's neutral, shoulders are down and back, driving my shoulder blades into my back pockets as I drive up through. Sit back out of that. Good. From there, we're going to emphasize that stretch a little bit more. That sit back, we're going to turn it into a wide sit for that inner thighs and groin. So go as wide as you can with control. Again, I have to emphasize the stretches with control. There's no point you being way out here and feeling as if your groin's going to snap on you. You've gone too far. Go to the point, like I'm sitting here and I can feel tension here, but it's a comfortable tension. I have control of the stretch so that I know when I sit back into the stretch, it's going to build up a little bit more. I'm not at the point now where I feel as if I can't move at all, because you can't sit back then. If you go to sit back, you're actually going to sort of collapse out of your posture. We want that tall posture in this. Let's turn this mat a little bit so you can see that. Good thing about these memory foam mats is you can find me knee position straight away. So I'm tall. Toes are turned out, wide sit, and then tall spine, I sit back. Breathe into it and hold. That's getting in through my groin. Right up through here, down through. The reason for the posture is that I don't want to be in this position, go down into it. Bring that back out. That's comfortable for me. I can go a little bit more. If you can't, don't. So I can open out. That's brought me out maybe an inch, which isn't a lot, but whenever I go to sit back, it's a huge amount. So straight away now, I've got a stretch through that inner thigh coming up onto my groin, but it's controlled again. It's uncomfortable, as in I can feel the pull, but it's not fighting against me. My body isn't vibrating, my groin isn't vibrating and trying to push me back out of the stretch again. Anytime you get into a stretch position like that, you've gone too far and you need to come out of it by moving your knees closer together. Any stretch at all, or just finding a more comfortable position, you've gone to a too advanced version of that stretch. One more breath. And then we'll walk that back up. Slowly walk in. The groin's delicate. Slowly walk in. from there. Work on that lower back. So we're going to go into our pigeon stretch. Again, this can be elevated onto the table or elevated onto a chair or elevated onto anything at all. I showed the previous week that we did it on the counter, table, chair and floor. They work our way down through the different levels. I'm going to do floor today simply because we're going to flow through what we're doing here, but if you need to put your foot up on the table, you slide your foot out to 90 degrees. So I go into a push-up position, I bring my foot out and round to 90, and then I let this go into the floor. Again, I'm stiff through the hips today. So different weeks you will have different places that will be stiff. When you're always breathing in these stretches, so 5 breath cycles, big breath in, breathe out, go a little bit further, but never to the point where it's fighting against you and the leg feels like it's vibrating. Good. So yeah, depending on what you're doing that week, depending on how work was that week, depending on your stress levels, will dictate how flexible or unflexible you are. One more, and then we'll change out of that. Didn't quite reach the floor with that, with the opposite leg, but again, I'm feeling it here and the glutes today. Change sides, ups to side, chest up, big breath in, and breathe through it. Breathe. Every time I breathe out, I'm just moving a little bit lower to the point where I have control. Almost. Backward. Good. So we're going to bring it down onto the mat. Hand out. Bring it onto your side. A lot of people, when they go into a quad stretch, if they're not too flexible, they start this kicking and reaching thing. This sort of thing, they try and reach for the runner, and then they grab the runner, and then they try and do this. Don't be going on your front. Come onto your side. When you're on your side, bring your knee up to your chest as far as you can. There's your foot. Grab your foot, pull it as tight as you can. Now bring this back into the line with the knee and push your pelvis forward, straighten your body up, and you're going to get a stretch for that quad. Even if you have to grab your ankle joint and do it, you're going to get a better stretch than that lying on your front and trying to kick your leg up or not being able to kick it up. Deep breaths. Just holding that through. Again, with the quad stretch, like every other stretch, your body position is important. If your knee is forward like this, you're not getting the stretch in that quad because the quad attachments come on into the hip flexor. So if you're not straight and with good posture and pushing your pelvis actively forward, the stretch isn't going to be as good as what you could get. Straighten that leg, relax out of that. We're going to do the other side, so I'm going to flip over for you. I know that doesn't match my flow, but I want to emphasize this today. So again, knee forward, there's the foot, right there, grab it. Straighten the leg, knees together, pelvis, push forward, my body's in a straight line, and hold that stretch. And then as you pull the heel into the butt, you're going to get a better stretch. One more. And then relax that down. We'll bring it onto the back. You're going to tee the arms out to the side, bend the knees to 90 degrees. Different positions you can do with this. You can just twist over to the side. So if your lower back is really stiff, twisting over to the side is probably enough for you right now. To emphasize that, you can bring the knees up to 90 degrees and then go over to the side. And that's going to be a lot more into it. You're always trying to keep this opposite shoulder pinned to the floor. One of the ones I found work best for people that maybe are a little bit more flexible and want to get a little bit more out of it is to cross the legs, and I hook. So I cross this leg over, but I hook this foot under this leg. So it locks that tight, and then whenever I go over, don't do this if you're not mobile. It gives me that little bit more of a stretch. So the one leg is actively pulling the other leg over. And that fighting against that to keep this shoulder down now, because this here is pulling on through into that thoracic spine. Again, this is the advanced version, you can keep the knees together. Back to center, change. So you've either got just knees over, hold, you've got 90 degrees, knees over, hold. You can do actually one leg and pull your knee across like this, or you can bring over, hook, and then let that pull you into the position. Breathe. Breathe. One more. Back to center. Relax that down straight. Lock your leg straight. If you need to bend the opposite leg, you can in order to be able to get this leg up and straight. Some people find that the hip flexor is overly tight, and when they straighten this leg, this happens, and they're sort of holding this. I want this leg straight. So if you can't do this and get this leg up straight, and then hold for that stretch, then bend this knee, and that'll allow you to get that little bit more of a stretch. Again, we want a straight leg because the hamstring crosses the knee joint, and then the calf crosses the knee joint, so locking that out straight gives you a good stretch through the back of the leg, all the way down through. Again, if this is difficult, we can go back and do the previous ones where we did a towel. You hook the towel over your foot, and then you use the towel, because then even if straight is here, you can't get up to 90 degrees. If that's straight, then it means you can grab that leg. And the foot, back to the floor, other leg, straighten it, lift it up. Once it gets to that point of tension, hold. If you're mobile, you can do opposite leg now. You actively push this leg straight. If you can't do it here, might be here, might be here. If it's too far for you, that's where you bring in the towel, and you hold the foot by hooking the towel over the base of the foot and grab the towel, and that'll keep you in that stretch. It all depends on how flexible you are. Then foot back to the floor. So same position, we're going to put the left foot on the right knee. So left foot on the right knee from here, and then we're just going to push this out for the stretch. For some people, this is plenty. You don't need to go into the one that comes after this, because if you're overly tight through the hips and lower back and into the groin, then this is probably really uncomfortable for you. And you're finding that when you try to go into the next stretch, you can't really get up into the position because everything sort of collapses and tightens. So this is plenty. Just getting nicely into that hip flexor and into the outside of the glute. And then to build up on this, then you reach through your legs. So people reach through around the outside, or people trying to reach over the top. I want you to reach through. Grab your hamstring, straighten that leg, and then pull that leg in, and that's going to put pressure on this hip and your hamstring. So similar to the pigeon stretch. Breathe. If you're really flexible and you're able to reach over that top and grab here and do this, that's fine too. So it will give you a little bit more, but this does the job. And it keeps that posture of the spine where you're flat. You don't have to lift up. And the knee back to the floor, change sides, other foot up, on, reach through, grab, lift up, pull. You can actively push this bent knee out to get into that groin as well. So you're locking this leg up and then you're pushing that knee out, and it becomes a different stretch. Then the knee back to the floor, just set that foot down. Straighten both legs out. Lengthen the body out. I want you to push your heels to this wall and push the palms of your hands to this wall here. So it's like you're in a rack and the rack is pulling you apart, like in one of those medieval torture racks. You're going to lift your rib cage up, you're going to suck that belly button into the spine, and then you're going to pull your body apart actively. Pull. Breathe. Breathe out. Breathe Breathe out. Breathe out. Breathe out. From there, bring your knees under your chest, grab the shins, hug them in. Deep breaths. So really pull the knees up into that chest. You can grab further down the shin if you want, and then hug in more. From there, we're going to extend the right leg out. On this, I like to keep that elbow hooked over the knee from here, like a headlock, and then extend out. I find that it gives a better, more solid pull here, rather than just having the hand, because the knee can go back a little bit, and then you're sort of holding, but you're not really getting the pull into the groin and into the glute here. So I kind of headlock it, lock it in tight, and then extend the lower leg. And I'm finding that I'm getting a better stretch on this hip flexor and this groin, and again I'm pulling this knee to the outside of my shoulder, not to my chest. And again, the reason for that is that the thigh hitting your chest will stop the stretch if you're flexible, whereas if you just pull slightly past your body and out, you're going to get that stretch coming from left to right. Then bring the knee back in, grab the other one. Again, I'm sort of headlocking, and I'm going to go to the outside a little bit, and then I slowly extend this leg, and I get a good stretch coming through, right across. One more. Knees back in, back to the floor. Bring that round. Just bring it up onto the knees, nice and tall, the hips. Reach up and back. You can push the palms to the ceiling. I tend to push the back of the wrist to the ceiling, because the stretch I'm looking for is coming from here and pushing back with a straight arm. So I'm not too worried about pushing the palms to the ceiling. Palms going to the ceiling now. Out, reaching this way, out, and then reaching back. Around the front, forward, push the shoulder blades forward. Arm across the body, pull that through. Chin sides. Pull that through. And then we'll go hands around the back, roll the shoulders back, stretch that up. And relax. And that's us, guys. It's a nice little full body one. A little bit of focus on everything in that. Just for anyone that may be stiff this week. Have a good weekend, and we will see you all on Monday. Have a good one, guys.